There's two Rachels in this photo. The one, front and center, in the middle, is easily the most recognizable, most highly regarded and revered Rachel in the entire fashion world. I would argue, in the whole world. By a show of hands, how many of you know who this is? Yes, you can shout it out. Rachel Zoe. Rachel Zoe is most known for being a celebrity wardrobe stylist, dressing A-listers like Jennifer Gardner, Anne Hathaway, and Cameron Diaz, just to name a few. She is also a fashion designer, an author, entrepreneur, and a style icon. The other Rachel, obviously, is me. I go by Rachel J. Now, how in the world did these two Rachels get in this pic together? How did this Rachel standing right in front of you today go from working as an advertising executive to being in the same conference with the one and only Rachel Zoe speaking on the business of personal styling? I should let you know that I don't have any formal fashion education. Over the years, I became a self-taught stylist and entrepreneur. I have styled the covers of magazines, worked with celebrities on commercials, styled weddings, and hundreds of personal clients. I had no foundations of how to dress people or a blueprint of how to start a styling business. I simply saw a need and created services that made sense, and then I figured it out as I went along. I have now partnerships with Rag & Bone, Vince, Burberry, Michael Kors, Ferragamo, and Nordstrom, just to name a few. It still blows my mind, and yes, I wanted to show you this picture again. I remember the first time I saw this post on Instagram, advertising the conference. I thought, that's it. I've made it. Drop the mic, I'm done. I was elated. Just a few years ago, I was asked to write and be the headline instructor for an online styling course. It was for an ed tech startup called Pivot School. During COVID, the founders of this company saw a wave of people pivoting out of their current careers to pursue their true passions. Personal styling was one of those passions. A year or so into the business, they decided to have monthly conferences, and I was asked to speak on how to get your first clients and run a successful styling business. We had students from all over the world yearning to know how to pivot and turn their love of fashion and styling into a profitable business. I wrote 15 modules on everything from the foundations of styling, how to dress all different body shapes, to skin tones and color theory, creating your own styling services, and then marketing yourself as an expert stylist in your area. I taught them how to effectively network and find their first clients. Students ranged anywhere from college students to retirees from an array of different industries. We met weekly over Zoom, and this was the first time for many to learn about the art of styling and to style someone other than themselves. It was a fun and uplifting community to be a part of. Now that's me and my parents in 1999 at my graduation from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. My parents immigrated here in the 70s from the Philippines. My mom is a retired nurse, my dad a mechanical engineer. They would have hoped for their firstborn to go into a traditional, stable field like theirs. To them, fashion made no sense or money. Even advertising and journalism were a stretch. Even if I wanted to get a degree back then, the concentrations were limited. You could learn about retail management, fashion design, visual merchandising, or the business of fashion, which many people wanted to become a buyer, which was a coveted title back in my day. Styling was never taught as a creative art or a career path. So I learned from what I watched and made the most out of every retail experience once I pivoted out of advertising at the age of 30. The late and great Steve Jobs once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards." So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. If I were to look forward from my graduation day, I would never have thought that Rachel Zoe would be a dot of inspiration in my life. I watched the Rachel Zoe Project on Bravo religiously from 2008 to 2013. Anyone else with me? All 5 seasons. I became obsessed with watching her work and how exactly she dressed all of these celebrities for red carpet events. This was really the first glimpse that I had, or any fashionista really had, into the world of styling. We never knew what happened behind the scenes, but we knew that Rachel Zoe had connections with all the big designers, from Oscar de la Renta to Diane von Furstenberg and Marc Jacobs. The list goes on. She would have gowns flown in from all over the world to her studio, and then she had a team of assistants and stylists that would run all over Hollywood and LA, curating and pulling shoes and accessories and more things. She picked out every single detail and styled her clients from head to toe. And then she had these fittings and just took all the stress off of getting dressed off their hands. What a dream. I was fascinated. After all, I fell in love with fashion from the moment I ditched my Catholic school uniform in 8th grade and went to the big public high school where I could freely express myself and put together fun outfits that made me me. And I also thought, why can't the everyday person have an experience like this, working with a professional that will take all the overwhelm and stress off of their hands and curate their looks? At the time, around 2010, I was working at Jimenez Penca in Los Angeles. Having a stylist back then was still thought of just for celebrities or only the very wealthy. Everyday people didn't have stylists, even though they had a lot of functions, work functions, special events, date nights, and they wanted to look amazing too. But personal styling was perceived as a luxury and not really that accessible. Without intending to do so, Rachel Zoe's work inspired and impacted me simply by her following her passion and living out her purpose. It was obvious during the time that the Rachel Zoe Project was airing that the profession of being a stylist was on the rise. The title, fashion stylist, wardrobe stylist, personal stylist, these were titles that were not historically heard of in fashion. But today, a stylist is one of the most emerging professions in the fashion world globally. The personal styling industry has become a wealth of opportunity. And why? Because we are styling everyday people, and everyday people are everywhere. Let me give you some stats. The personal styling industry in the US reached revenues of $1.6 billion in 2021 alone. If we talk about the virtual styling market, it is expected to grow to $11.8 billion in 2026, which gives even more opportunities to personal stylists in the future. The total number of stylists hasn't even been recorded properly yet, but one thing is for sure. The numbers are growing steadily, and the fashion community is finally recognizing the immense contributions of stylists. In 2022, La Roche, the celebrity stylist for Zendaya, Celine Dion, and so many more, and also a self-proclaimed image architect from Chicago, became the recipient of the CFDA's inaugural Stylist Award. Let me break that down for you. A stylist won an award from the CFDA, or the Council of Fashion Designers of America. A stylist was being recognized for their work from an organization that promotes designers. The significance of this is historic and monumental. Styling is finally getting the recognition it deserves in the fashion ecosystem. Without styling, fashion could be considered items of inventory, not a full outfit or look that's put together in a thoughtful and intentional way. I met La soon after he received his award in November of 2022 at a Neiman Marcus event. And let me tell you, when I met him, I got choked up. And I didn't really know why at the time, but now I understand it is because of the magnitude of his work as a stylist to lift up all stylists. The idea of one person lifting up a whole profession and a whole industry is profound. La Roche is a shining example of what is possible for future generations of stylists. Imagine if you were that person in your field. Without intending to do so, La Roche's work inspired and impacted me, simply by them following their passion and living out their purpose. Ironically, I started Rachel J Styling in 2013, the same year that the Rachel Zoe Project ended. 11 years in, and I still love what I do. I love that I can make clients smile this big and feel this special. One of my favorite comments was from a husband that I worked with who said, "You saved me a month's worth of arguments with my wife." And that is possible through good outfits. I love that my work genuinely helps people, and I still pinch myself when I think I make a living, and a good living, Mom and Dad, dressing people and consulting them on how to look their best. Now I have a team of 7 assistants and stylists that are helping me to continue my mission of simplifying style and shopping for the everyday person while giving them a luxury experience. Now, as an adjunct professor of fashion styling here at Columbia College Chicago, I get to educate and bring forward with me those that want to learn and experience this path too. I am teaching them what I wish I knew about styling and how to navigate this industry. I'm teaching them not only the fundamentals of styling, but how to develop designer partnerships, teaching them how to communicate with clients effectively, to fully understand their struggles and dress their unique body shapes. I remind them that we are a service-based business and we need to bring out the individual style of the other person and not push our style onto them. I am teaching the next generation of stylists not to underestimate the power of their talent that is transforming lives, saving time, alleviating stress and overwhelm, and building confidence in those that they serve, one outfit at a time. I'm proud to say that as of 2023, fashion styling has become the largest concentration of study within the fashion studies department here. I have students transfer into Columbia because of the styling minor, and I hope to help build styling into a major and even a graduate program someday. I see a future with more education of fashion styling even at the high school level, and more colleges and universities around the world having fashion styling as a degreed program, not just at creative arts schools or fashion-focused schools. When I look back on the 47 years of my life thus far, as Steve Jobs said, it's easy for me to see the dots that connected me to where I am today. What I know for sure is that each dot in my career was a person. It was a person that sparked an idea. It was a person that made a connection happen. It was a person that introduced me to someone in their network and mentioned my name in a room when I wasn't even there. A person that believed in me, saw something in me, and gave me a chance to get me to my next step. I can't tell you how many aspiring stylists and seasoned stylists approach me, asking me and wanting to connect. How do I get started, and how do you do what you do? And when I talk to them, I am an open book, giving them oftentimes many of my secrets and connections. Why do I do this? Because I know that helping others lifts up the styling community as a whole, and I have become a champion for every stylist I encounter and the entire styling industry. My vision is much bigger than competing with another stylist for business. The wisdom that we have acquired isn't meant to just live inside us. It is meant to be shared. So that means that each of us in our different fields has the power to inspire and impact those around us in meaningful ways. When we're living out not just our passion, but our purpose, our life becomes an example and a light to others. Without intending to do so, my work, Rachel J's work, has inspired and impacted the lives of others simply by me following my passion and living out my purpose. And so it can be for all of you. You can be the dot in someone's life, make a connection, open a door to a new opportunity. Take a second, you can close your eyes if you'd like, and run through your mind the people that formed the dots of your career. Think of your life like a movie. You know, at the end of every movie, they run the credits. They credit the important people, the people that contributed to the creation of that film. Take a second to acknowledge who impacted the story and movie of your life and how grateful and worthy and special they made you feel. And with that feeling of gratitude inside you, I have a little assignment for you today. As you leave this event, I challenge you to meet one new person, connect with them, and listen in a new way. Listen with the intent to be of service. Listen with an altruistic spirit and see if there's a way that you can't be a dot on their journey. If we adopt this mindset, then we can create a strong, empowered, positive community of impactors. Think of how you can help to champion that person, your profession, or your entire industry. I know that we can do that. So So let's go out there and champion one another and rise up together. Thank you.